Hello everyone, my name is Danny, and today I'm going to talk about the book that is A Short History of Nearly Everything by Bill Bryson. So first, before I start my presentation, I would like to ask you all a question. How big do you think the universe is? Most of you would answer incredibly big, and probably more than the human mind can comprehend. And I would agree. But also, why am I asking this question? It's because this is a very prevalent theme all throughout Bill Bryson's book. Then, why did I choose this book in the first place? Well, Bill Bryson brilliantly mixes in humor and science facts into the book, making it a very thrilling experience, and I would very much recommend it to anyone who is starting out in the science community but still want to have fun. In the first few chapters of the book, Bill Bryson opens up about the universe and time, where he again nails in his point about the universe being unimaginably vast. Here, he talks about things like the cosmos, the universe, stars, and other planets. Then he brings up William Thomson, or Lord Kelvin. This is also one of the best physicists of all time. And here's a popular quote by him. "There's nothing new to be discovered in physics anymore. All that remains is more and more precise measurement." And we know that he is wrong because right after he said this quote, a few years later, X-ray was discovered. So this lets us know that even experts can be wrong in their own fields sometimes. Then Bill Bryson introduces the Earth's formation, where he just tells us how deep the Earth is, with 12,262 meters deep versus when we have only explored around 6,371 kilometers deep. Then we move on to the plate tectonics. If you haven't known already, plate tectonics is an incredibly important theory to geology as a whole. However, when it was first theorized by Alfred Wegener, it was brushed off at first because other geologists said that he wasn't a real geologist, and plus the idea of continents moving was incredibly ridiculous for its time. However, we know that they are wrong because this theory is just shaping what we think about the Earth today. Then Bill Bryson is the chapter Life Begins, where Bill Bryson talks about cells and DNA. So, as you can see in the picture, cells are incredibly complex. You can see multiple components that make up a cell, and even though they are small, that doesn't determine that they should be simple or they work very surface level at all. When cells were first discovered, scientists just thought they would be simple living blobs of life. However, just look at the picture again. It's so very complex, and you can see that they are wrong because cells are the living blocks of life, and life is incredibly complex, which would mean they would be very complex too. Then Bill Bryson moves on to evolution and extinction. By the way, fun fact, did you know that over 90% of all life on Earth right now is extinct? That's right, they exist in the form as fossils today. Then let's look to the image on your left, right? This image shows the evolution process between a common ancestor of humans and monkeys into us humans today. And while this may look simple, this process took over roughly 66 million years. So that just puts in perspective of how long and slow this process is. And we don't even understand the most of it. It is incredibly complex, and we have almost zero life, we have almost no, moving on. Then Bill Bryson moves on to the human body, where he notes how it is an incredible miracle that 99% of the time, the human body doesn't go wrong and just explode at all. Because the human body is made of very small components like muscle tissues, bones, and which are made of incredibly smaller things like cells and DNA, which is made of even smaller things like protons and electrons. So you can see that we are made of very small things, which would mean we are very big, right? However, we are still basically specks of life compared to the universe. Then finally, this is an incredibly important quote in the book. And these, you may recall, are men who thought science was nearly at an end. So why did I bring this quote into my presentation? It's to convey my message. Nowadays, I see a lot of young people being discouraged when getting into the science field because they think everything is already discovered and they have nothing left to prove. However, you are incredibly wrong. First, space is nearly undiscovered. We almost know nothing about it. Everything we see are just pictures and more pictures. And also, the ocean is even worse. Fun fact, did you know that the ocean is less explored than space itself? That's right, we have only explored around 5% to 10% of the ocean. So what I would like is for people to gain courage because there's still so much more to be discovered in science and there's so much more for you to know and learn. So thank you for listening. That is the end of my presentation.